What's green and fuzzy, and if it falls out of a tree, it'll kill you? Pool table. It's my favorite joke. I love that joke.
Shut up and sit down.
So I was talking last week about how process are much more important than results in the way we plan and think about what we're going to do. And the analogy I made last week was in the idea that Common Core math. If you haven't heard my rant about Common Core, go back and look at the last one. By the way, I'm a huge fan of it, so my rant may be different than yours. One of the frustrations that most of us have in dealing with our kids coming home with homework is that we don't understand how the curriculum is trying to get our child to understand the outcome, the result. What we're missing out on is that we weren't trained in process. We were trained in plug and chug. We were trained in memorization. Those training methods work great if what you're looking for is a result. If you're looking for input A, output B, plug and chug works just fine. It's how a computer works. However, what we want as human beings is people who are adaptable. We want people who can look at a situation and figure out how to handle it in the moment. And not every moment comes with a set of cookie cutter instructions in, outcome out. And that's where this difference between outcomes-based training versus results-based training. When we want to see high-level performance out of people, we need to focus on how they get there, not what the answer is. And that seems counterintuitive because what seems natural, what seems important is the answer, right? Does 2 + 2 equal 5? No, unless it's 1984 and you're George Orwell. But does 2 + 2 equal 4? Yes. How many ways are there to get there? In my mind, there's one. I just get 2 and 2 and it's 4, right? But maybe if I understand the process of addition in a different way, I can now apply that in different settings. The same thing applies in thinking about your fitness training. Well, here's where that goes. So now I want somebody to set up in their deadlift, and I want to see their deadlift, and I want to see whether they are results focused or they are process focused. And let's look at two different examples of that in the deadlift right now. So when I teach the deadlift, I teach a lot of the same standard cues that everybody teaches, right? We want to start with the bar at mid-foot. We want to be in a position where at the bottom, our shoulder is in line or just in front of the bar when we set up. We want our grip to be just outside of our hand, or our hands to be just outside of our knees. Basic setup cues. But here's a couple of other things that I have learned that I like to apply. I didn't come up with any of these things. I learned them from coaches who taught me or that I watched on the internet, the same way everybody learns, right? Here's what I want to focus on with people when they set up for their deadlift. And this is where process comes in and the results will come. You see a lot of people who will go down, they'll set up for their deadlift, they're very casual on it, and they might get set, but then they try to rip that bar off the floor. Well, what happens when I try to rip that bar off the floor? Do you see my hips come up? Do you see my butt come up and everything disengage? And essentially I go from deadlifting to stiff-legged deadlifting. If I want to do a stiff-legged deadlift, that's fine. I should set up and do that. But my intention matters in my setup. And if I go ahead and set up my deadlift, get down in my good starting position where I'm comfortable, and I squeeze that bar off the floor, well, now I have a good, repeatable position. Process matters. If I let my athletes get away with that butt popping up and they suddenly go into a stiff-legged deadlift, I'm ignoring their process and I'm focusing on their result. We don't care about the number. We have a handful of rules that we follow when we're training folks in No Filter Fitness and the Adult Academy sort of fitness mindset. And one of those rules is no scores. There is no whiteboard. We are not writing scores down. We are worried about your technique, your capacity, and then your intensity in that order. We are a process-driven operation. The results will come. So when we talk about the fact that we don't care what the number is, I mean it. Sean and I mean it. We don't care how much weight is on the bar. We care about how clean your movement is. Because as you come along, the weight on the bar is going to go up. Time in a certain thing is going to come down. All of these things, your endurance, your strength, your capacity, those will develop over time with intentional programming focused on your goals. If your process is good. Practice does not make perfect. Practice makes permanent. The importance of practicing intentionally can't be overstated, because those things that we make permanent become both the things that help us succeed and the things that limit us. And as you're learning and as you're growing and as you're developing, as a parent, as a mentor, as an athlete, as a firefighter, as a teacher, as a soldier, sailor, airman, marine, you get the point. Whatever you're doing, if you are focused on the intentionality of your process, your results will come. If you are focused on a result, on a number, you are limiting yourself. So, process versus results. You're going to hear us talk about this a lot. You'll see it again. As always, thank you for spending a little bit of time with me today. I really truly believe that time is the only finite resource that as humans we have. Investing some of your time means a lot to me, and I try to honor it. So, thank you. See you soon. Cheers. I'm supposed to tell you to subscribe. I forgot to tell you to subscribe. Please subscribe to these videos. That helps us make more of them. Check out the website. Come visit our Amazon link. All of that stuff that you can do. I'm bad at shilling the channel. Sorry.
Shut up and sit down.